Tell us a little bit about how you think about the role you play in technology.
Well, there are two reasons I'm passionate about it. One is because in my background, I, at Goldman, spent a lot of time with technology companies in the Valley and elsewhere. I was on board of a biotech company, and I have invested in a number of startups. So I follow the technology sector, and I believe that it really is critical to the growth of the American economy, in fact, to the global economy. That brings me to the second reason, that is that if you look at the strengths of the United States, one of our great strengths is our capacity to be a leader in innovation. We're an open society. It's part of our DNA from the beginning. The creation of the United States is to be open to new ideas, people from all over the world, innovative ideas, the notion that people can fail, come back, fail again, and succeed after 2 or 3 times of making this effort. We tolerate failure because we know that as a result of experimentation, new ideas, some will work, some won't, but it's the creativity, the creative process that energizes us, and this should be a land of opportunity. And one of the things we in the State Department can do is to engage other countries, so American scientists and American engineers and American innovators could work with countries and experts in other countries to collaborate. So if we in the State Department can engage with other countries and set up groups, committees, and working groups, it helps us to develop markets, it helps collaborators to develop new ideas, new inventions, and it's a global world. No country can do it alone anymore. You need to do it through collaboration. State can help do that collaboration.
There have been a whole series of situations where the government has played a major role in seeding the creation of lots of technology, and yet, on the other hand, there is a leave us alone mentality where the technology business wants to be left alone to do its business. How do you feel about those tensions, and do you see the role of government as facilitating the ability of American technology business to find new places to do business, find new things to do, or how much of it is about kind of setting the rules of the road?
We have these innovation dialogues with China, with Russia, with India, with Brazil, with many other countries. It's really a government organized dialogue, but the real activity is the private sector, people who participate in the various subgroups which are on various elements of cooperation. But the other side is to ensure an environment where American companies have the capability to compete. So we work very hard to have a level playing field so that American companies would have the opportunity to sell innovative goods and services to government entities in China. And we're trying to do that elsewhere, trying to make sure that when countries develop their innovation plans, they're not closed to the point that American companies with very good products and services don't have an opportunity. And we actually find, as we do this, we have allies in those countries because their consumers, their users, demand information, they demand high quality products, they demand the very best because they want to be competitive in the global market. They don't want their industry sort of prevented from having access to global.
There's another side to the China story. There was this congressional, is it a House committee? It was
House
a House
committee.
committee that took a look at the role of Huawei and ZTE, which are very successful, large telecommunications equipment vendors. They've been particularly important, or Huawei in particular has been very important in 4G infrastructure. And this committee basically said we should, U.S. telecom companies shouldn't be buying from either one of them. They can't be trusted. It seems like not the tone of the conversation that we necessarily want to be having with China, but does raise interesting questions about are there risks in broadened adoption of technology from outside the country?
We take every project on the basis of an analysis. For the most part, projects, investments from around the world don't raise any national security implications. So we actually have a lot of investment here from China. It doesn't get headlines every day, but there's a lot of Chinese investment going on But we are careful about looking at the national security implications where they exist, and we have this very well established process for analyzing it, and so we look at it case by case.
So if you had, say, like one or two areas of focus or concern that you might have, say, going into next year, what would
in the tech
space?
Well, there's several things. One, we have a lot of collaboration with the Europeans on electric cars. There's a lot of work being done, batteries, smart grids, cars, the whole infrastructure that relates to electric cars, because we think this is going to be very big, and there's a great deal of work that's been done on that. A lot of work on e-health, health records, how do you establish cooperation in the way you utilize or digitize health records. A very big thing for the medical industry, but obviously a very big thing also because it's good for the patients to have digitized access, records, and they can, wherever they go, they can
so
get
trying
access.
To find some cross-border standards?
Cross-border standards. Another area is we're going to try to enhance these innovation dialogues that we have with other countries, because we want to enable American scientists and innovators to be able to work with people in other countries. American companies are very good if they have access to the best and the brightest from around the world, bringing them together, having them develop projects together, and this type of collaboration is very useful. More and more patents are done by people in 2 or 3 or more countries working together. More and more scientific papers are done by 2 or 3 people, 4 people, up to 10 people working in different countries. So we want American scientists and academicians to have this opportunity to collaborate. Obviously, they have to be careful about intellectual property piracy. It's a huge issue, and one of the things I've spent a lot of time on. How do you protect intellectual property? How do you protect trade secrets? Because the downside of globalization in some respects is that companies are more vulnerable to cyber piracy or...
Free flow of information goes in both directions.
Free flow of information has powerful goods, and I think the goods are far greater than the negatives, but there are these risks of intellectual property protection issues, piracy issues, a whole range of things. And one of the things we're doing working with other countries is to insist on much tougher rules protecting intellectual property. And as they develop their own intellectual property in these countries like China, we think they'll become more protective of intellectual property in general, because if you don't, you won't get people investing in innovative products in your country. You won't even get people to sell the most innovative stuff because
no one will want to be there.
No one will want to be there because they'll fear retro-engineering or piracy. So if you really want to modernize your economy, you got to protect intellectual property and be open to new ideas.
I just want to ask one last question. One of the big concerns that people in the Valley have about sort of policy question is about immigration. There's this view that when you have a foreign student, that they should have like a green card stapled to their diploma, and that's something that has very wide scale, broad support from people in the Valley who think, we are educating these people, we should try and keep them inside the country.
Well, you have in me a full-throated advocate of a policy of enormous openness to these people coming in, the best and the brightest from around the world. And we should be doing everything we can both to attract those people and to ensure that they have the opportunity to stay here. It's very hard to change the immigration laws because they're very complicated, but I'm a very strong believer that we would benefit enormously in many ways in terms of job creation, new ideas, new opportunities for our own economy, interaction with other economies around the world by having policies that retain these people. And they are great for our society, great for our economy. And this is who we are as a country. And we should look very hard at current rules and laws and find ways of making it easier for people to come and contribute to the innovative society that we're developing.